This is One Ogden. I'm John Miles.
Ben Nadolski is the mayor of Ogden. He was elected in November after a crowded primary and a tight general election, and now he's working to make good on his campaign promises and set a culture of collaboration and hard work among the various employees, departments, and citizens of Ogden.
This time in your term, it's like you're doing all this stuff, but it's taken a while to catch up to people, so that's got to feel a little bit...
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's why I wrote a transition plan and talked about our first 100 days together, because it's a big-time journey. And it's all compacted into a really short period of time, and people have expectations. Those expectations are usually pretty immediate. There's a lot of things that happened in the past that I have to deal with in the current, and that we're going to have to prepare for in the future. I inherited a team of a lot of people. Hundreds and hundreds of people and employees are counting on me, and they want to know what I stand for. And I want to know what they stand for too, because I'm now a part of the team. And so building an internal culture is a really big priority for me. Building my team that's immediately around me and making sure that they have what they need to build their team that reflects our priorities. That's cultural and organizational work, which to the outside world, they're not going to see. That's really quiet for them, right?
Uh-huh.
But over time, they're going to see it and feel it through impact and results and the way that we carry ourselves, right? And that's been the biggest priority for me in the 100 days, is making sure that we build the team that we need to serve the community.
And so is it a lot of that? Are you like hearing from a bunch of department heads, like they're just all telling you their vision and you're like, this is good, this is bad?
Yes and no, because I'm meeting with all the department directors and division managers, and I make it a point to go talk with staff just to get to know them on a personal level. I mean, I was down on the second floor when you came in, and we kind of crossed paths because I was down in HR and down in the recorder's office, and I had to fill out some papers, but that's a good opportunity to talk to people as people and get to know them and have fun. I want to get to know them, and I want them to get to know me. It's important that they know who they work with, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that work happening here, and it feels really good. It feels powerful. That's the energy of the organization, right?
Yeah. It does feel like that down here. Like you could just, like I don't have much reason to come to this building very often, you know what I mean? But like, there's a bunch of city work going on.
There's a bunch of work. We're a busy place.
Yeah.
But also when you come in here and anyone else that comes in, you're going to feel something, and I want you to feel a positive energy, and that positive energy is going to come from the people that work here.
Yeah.
Right? I hope you feel that from me, and I hope that they feel that from me, and I feel it from them. That's sort of our collective energy coming together into one organization and one culture.
Yeah. But so also, like, I may be misremembering, but did you used to commute to Salt Lake? Like, did you? Yeah. And so now you get to come downtown, come to work every day. That's got to be pretty fun.
Oh, yeah. I spent 5 years commuting to Salt Lake every day to North Temple and Redwood Road, but also to the Capitol. Most of my time was spent at the Capitol or at the headquarters. But just prior to coming here, I was in Ogden. So it was really nice being local, especially raising a young family.
Oh, yeah.
But now that I get to consolidate all of my hours on city council here and all my hours in my day job then into one job here, it's been really helpful.
Oh, that's
really
nice.
Helpful to have that kind
That's
of focus.
great.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know you plan to kind of put your career on hold, but how's that been? You know, have you been missing it?
Well, yeah, I have a lot of friends and memories that I miss a little bit, but I don't regret it because this experience has been so warm so far. I really can't understate how warm the employees have been. They've welcomed me with open arms, wrapped their arms around me, and I'm doing the same for them.
Yeah.
And that's how we're becoming a close-knit, right, and staying
great.
a close-knit organization. So because of that, I don't regret what I have done. But I was nervous because I gave up the career of my lifetime goal and dream, doing really fun things with wildlife and out in remote, rugged areas. That's my childhood, lifelong dream.
Right.
So yeah, I was nervous, but I'm happy now. I'm really happy I did this.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
But then, okay, Wildlife Resource Center. was like a huge topic during the campaign. Then you come into office and you basically say, okay, we're going to grant them some time, let them work it out. And I don't feel like people really know about that much. So do you want to talk about just that decision and what led to that?
Sure. People probably don't know about it because it's not a noisy fire in the headlines.
Right.
And that's because we're just being more collaborative. You know, if you read my blueprint for our first 100 days together, collaboration and communication, transparency, service to others, those are values that I meant it. They're not just words in the plan.
Yeah, right.
So, case in point, you know, they might not like that I'm upholding the decision for the transition, but I think they have a lot of respect for how we're doing it, because we're doing it with kindness. We're doing it collaboratively, and we're being as helpful as we possibly can. And so people aren't maybe hearing about that, because that's something that happens in the background in the day-to-day. But those are the values that I espouse, and it's the values that our team is putting to work.
Yeah.
Right. And so we have a really good communication and relationship with the staff at the Wildlife Rehab Center, and I talk to them directly as well. We stay in touch, and the team stays in touch. And so, yeah, it's a different dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, that's what, it was a thing you talked to me about a lot, people-focused government, and with them, you said, we just need to pick up the phone and talk to them.
And that's what
we've
done.
That was exactly what I saw, so yeah.
Right. And you want to hear something interesting? This surprised me, but in reflection, it shouldn't surprise me, because it's the state of the world right now. I've had a lot of people come to me and say, hey, I noticed that you did what you said you were going to do during the campaign. And to me, it seems pretty matter of fact. I go, well, I said I would, so I did. And they're like, yeah, but that doesn't happen much. And I'm like, well, of course, I'm happy to do that.
Right.
Just like I told you, I'm like, when I take office, we should do that again.
Yeah.
Well, here we are.
Yeah.
It's important that we do what we say we're going to do. And I think people are starting to see that more. And that is so important, because that's how you build or rebuild trust. And in the state of our world right now, there's not a lot of trust in politics and in the public.
Yeah.
And so those instances, I think, are critically important.
Yeah.
And they most often happen on a more personal, one-on-one level.
Okay, because another great example of this, and it may be one that you're less inclined to talk about, but Brandon Cooper has been a divisive topic around the city and in all kinds of meetings. And so then, right as you're taking office, he resigns and all of that. So, I mean, that feels to me like more of you following through on stuff. But
well, it's not who I am to besmirch anybody. It was just a matter of building the team that I want and what I need that is consistent with the principles and the priorities that I have. And I don't wish him any ill will whatsoever, nor will I ever.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Is it fair to ask if you asked him to resign?
Yeah, it was just a mutual parting of ways. And it just gets back to the culture that we're trying to build.
Yeah. Nobody had a great answer for that during the campaign. But then you come in and you just kind of do what it seemed like you thought was right. So,
well, I think that's what people put me here for. Every single day, I'm confronted with information, with challenges and issues. I've got a team of people that are executing on a lot of things, but a lot of things kind of funnel up to me again for another decision, and then they funnel back down for execution, right? And so as you're doing that, that's why this 100-day plan is so important. Is I wanted the team of people here to know what I will be considering when I'm making those choices.
Yeah.
Right. And so day-to-day decisions are 100% consistent with what I said here. And what that does is it reinforces to the team here that they can count on their mayor to hold true to his word, that when he's confronted with choices that we know what he stands for and what his kind of filter is. And then because we do this so publicly, it tells the community what I stand for and what they can count on from me too. That's
funny. I'd never thought about that. The way all the stuff you say on the campaign trail, you are talking to the public, but it's still all these employees who are going to work for you that are also hearing that same thing.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you this, I've never been a mayor until now, but I've been an administrator and I've been a leader. And this job is a leader of an organization and a lot of employees, and a leader of a community and a lot of citizens and residents. And it's a challenge I really have enjoyed, is that I lead in the community, I lead in the building, and sometimes you have to lead the two together and you're kind of in the middle a little bit, but that's the job. I'm the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Between the services and outcomes and the people that we serve.
Yeah. Have you identified any ways that like the priorities of economic development are going to change?
So I always said, and I said it during the campaign again, is that I love the Make Ogden plan. How we execute it is really important.
Mm-hmm.
I've placed the priority here on teamwork, collaboration, communication, a transparency with one another, early involvement of the departments to make sure that we have early buy-in, and that kind of procedural like processes combined with a culture of support and enthusiasm for one another, but also for the vision and the mission of CED, and that is bringing the expertise from each department to the table early, and it's creating a foundation for collaboration for a project moving forward. So we've got a lot of unfinished projects in the city right now.
Yeah.
And that's the immediate focus right now, is to figure those projects out, bring the team to the table, and put it toward execution and going vertical on the things that we've already approved,
Mm-hmm.
while also making sure that we're available and preparing for future opportunities too. And time again, I keep hearing, not only from our team, but from external stakeholders and partners, that they're very refreshed by that approach.
Mm.
They love having access not just to the mayor, but to the mayor's team of Mayor Brown and my CAO and the department directors for relevant departments, and sometimes the division managers for specific areas of focus. They love when we schedule a meeting and we bring all of the expertise to the table, and then they just have kind of that one-stop shop, and they're like, I know that I've got input from all of those disciplines all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And it saves them time and effort and energy, frustration, and it does the same for us, and it leads to better outcomes at the end. That's what I'm putting my stock into right now.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw an op-ed like about a week ago that was kind of about you, but one of the things it talked about was the size of city governments, and I thought it was unfair. They were comparing us with like Orem and South Jordan, and then saying that our government, Ogden City's government, was too big. And I felt like, at least compare us with Provo, Logan, like other places that are more comparable. So do you have any thoughts about the size of our government?
Yeah, we are a big metropolitan city.
Right.
Someone else asked me about that this morning, actually.
Huh.
The question was like, what's it like waking up and seeing that someone writes a letter about you? And it's like, oh, that's the job.
Right.
I don't know the man, but I respect the opinion and appreciate the kudos that he gave me in the letter too.
Yeah, right.
And it's an important question, because there's always a question about level of service versus the expense for those services too.
Mm.
And we do staffing studies each year, primarily to focus on making sure that our staff are in a baseline amount of compensation that's fair and comparative across the board. That's
right.
a benchmark type of study. We want to make sure that in future iterations that we're also looking at staffing levels for a city of our size. But you can't just, I don't think it would be good in that type of a study to just say we're going to pair our population of 90,000 with another city of 90,000, or do a per capita comparison. Each city's probably going to have different dynamics. For us, we're an older city. We have really aging infrastructure. We're also the city center for Weber County. We have a population of 30 to 40,000 people that come into our city every single day and then leave again. That's a demand and a draw on services. It comes with benefits too, right? But it also comes with impacts and demands for service.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people for a police force to provide for, right? A lot of emergency response, a lot of impact on infrastructure, a lot of impact on downtown traffic and roadways, right?
Yeah.
Those things all accrue cost and require a response.
Uh-huh.
So when we get to the study of that nature, those are the kinds of questions it's good to ask and to answer. And so the gentleman that wrote the letter is, he's on point. That's an important consideration. And so in response, that's something that I'm well aware of and looking forward to studying, not just anecdotally, but very quantitatively.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, when you're walking down the street, does it feel different now? And just, like, walking around, I mean, sure, you were a city councilor before, but now it's like, you know.
It's nerve-wracking. So, I mean, we're sitting here at my desk. I got windows overlooking the city. I spend a lot of time on the phone, and I just stare out at it while I talk on the phone, and it's a little bit of an ominous consideration, right, when you think of all the things that you're responsible for. But I haven't felt overwhelmed by it.
Oh, that's good.
And I think it's because I know the quality of people that are beside me doing the work, and how now I'm at a point now where I feel like, okay, now I know who I can count on, and I know I'm not alone.
Right.
I am not alone. So it doesn't feel like it's just me, that it's just on my shoulders.
Yeah.
You know?
This does seem like a great place to just look out the windows while you're on calls.
Oh, it's amazing. But when I first started, I was like, okay, it's a lot out there. It's a lot on my
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
A
but
lot of people counting on me.
yeah. But they're counting on me as much as they're counting on the firefighter that comes to their house when in their time of need.
Yeah.
Right? They're counting on that person, that firefighter, that police officer, that public works employee that responds to the water line that's out of service. Right? They're counting on that person in that moment way more than they're counting on me. But in the background, I'm part and parcel of a team that is delivering on that service, no question about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't feel alone. I feel like it's a we, not a me. And that is a amazing feeling to have when all of this is on my plate.
Absolutely. But yeah, do people come up to you with crazy ideas? Just like...
Frankly, those conversations usually go quite well. If you give people time, you give them a moment. I mean, this morning I was at a meeting with the council member over breakfast, and I had to hustle to my next meeting, but beforehand there was a group of gentlemen eating together that had questions that, presented as serious concerns and complaints at first, but I wish I had more time because it felt like maybe it started off a little critical, but at the end of the day they're like, oh, okay. They kind of, oh, that's, you tell them what you know, and they're like, oh, that's way better than what could have been.
Right.
And I felt like I left in a lot better place with those gentlemen than I started. But that's what community engagement is. I'm trying not to lead with my ego, so if I don't take offense at the front end, it helps me.
But it's really got to ratchet up since you're mayor. Like, I'm sure you got it as a city councilor, but I'm sure as mayor it's
way more.
10 times more.
More than 10.
Yeah.
More than 10. Early on, I remember I was crossing the street. I'd cross Washington Boulevard. I take all my lunch meetings in Ogden establishments. The overwhelming majority, I'm doing them in downtown.
Awesome.
I try to make sure that I spread that around. I'm getting my hair cut at all the hair, I'm going after this. I gotta get my hair cut downtown.
Nice. Gonna go get a tattoo.
As you can tell, yeah. But I remember I was crossing Washington Boulevard early on to go get my hair cut, and every car I walked in front of was like, hey, they recognized me.
That's gotta be weird.
Yeah, so I want to be known for good things, not.
Yeah, right. You're like, are they smiling? Looks like they're happy.
Yeah, so I'm just like, yep, hey, and they were nice and waved back and smiled and stuff.
Yeah, nice.
But it does change the way you carry yourself in the community because you don't want to ignore people. If they recognize you and they want to say hi, I don't want to snub them. So I have to be mindful that I might be recognized, but I'm not always recognized. I'm not famous.
Okay, so I was asking people on the street just about the apartment building we tore down, on 25th, close to Wall. But, like, does the city have, like, any say over that? Like, somebody owns that property even though it went through whatever it went through with the owners. Like, how much can the city influence what happens there now?
Well, we do that through land use. The legislature gives local government land use authority for that reason. Our 25th Street is an area where we're going to be really, really intentional about every foot of space.
Yeah.
And once we determine what the appropriate land use is, the private landowner can build whatever they want within the boundaries of what we've approved generally.
I see.
They can't build whatever they want to a standard that they want. They still have to meet a standard, and that's why that building came down. But there's still discussion over what comes next, and we can't just say if something's already been approved and it's within the land use that's already in place. It's not something that we can just take away. But you can do that if it's not built right and it came down.
Yeah.
So whatever it comes into in its future is still in dispute or in discussion right now.
And does that stuff happen between like the landowner and the city council or the city engineering department? Like, where do those conversations?
Conversations over the quality of the construction or the
Like the land use.
Oh, that would be through our planning division. It goes through planning commission, then through city council. So it gets a lot of layers of review. But for an individual project, it's different too, and that goes through a site plan review and planning commission and stuff like that. So once the land use, like the zoning designation, that goes through a different public process. But then when someone's proposing something that fits within that land use, then it's more that site plan.
Right.
And that's more an administrative and a planning commission function. And if it's downtown, then it goes through the historical layers as well.
Yeah. So it's really exciting right now with Wonder Block and Union Station and 25th Street. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like, have your thoughts about those projects changed at all since you become mayor and, gotten more involved in them?
Well, my perspective, meaning the seat I'm in now, changes what I see of the project, because now I'm involved in the day-to-day of the execution of the Wonder Block. It's been fun to develop that team dynamic on that project, because it's a joint venture between public and private, and there's always a little like, okay, a new guy's coming in, how's that gonna go?
Sure.
Right. I've been pleasantly, I wouldn't say surprised, but kind of overjoyed with that dynamic we're creating.
Yeah.
Again, bringing the whole team to the table, sitting down with our private partners on how it is executed, and it just feels like the chemistry is really coming together, and that it's leading to dirt turning to do a groundbreaking. Just to get to the point where you're ready for that, there's a lot of execution on this end, on the administrative end, with plats and with financing and permitting and staging of different contractors and the contracts that go with it. I mean, it's a massive undertaking.
Right.
Requires expertise across all departments. Over time, when you do that, teams form, and that's my most proud part of what we've done in our short time. It's been the teamwork. Like an average resident wouldn't know it, but our team knows it. They feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's energizing.
Well, I bet.
It's electric here.
You're just, this whole area around you, you just kind of get to redo a bunch of it.
Right.
But then, like, is it like, do you have to resist the urge to be like, man, I'd love to have a shawarma place right here by my office?
Who doesn't want shawarma?
Yeah, right. Making it your own little Wonder Block.
Well, I don't have that much
Yeah.
juice in this place. You still got to do things to do it the right way, but it's not built for me. It's built for all of us, but it's on a really broad scale. It is directed by me, and it's really kind of heartwarming to set a direction and a tone and to communicate those priorities early, like I did in my inauguration, and to watch the staff feed it back in. And those are the feedback loops I look for to make sure that our priorities are taking hold and that the procedures and the personnel are in place. And then when I see it, man, I tell you, it's the best feeling as a leader when you see that happening with and through and alongside other leaders in the organization. It feels really good to see that functionality happening. So over time, that's been the process. When I showed up, it's like, okay, how does things work here?
Yeah.
Who's who and how, and it just feels good. It feels really electric and dynamic. It's really energizing to come here for me.
Yeah.
And I want my team to feel the same way. Frankly, to the point that it feels kind of intoxicating. I'm serious. Like, I show up and people welcome me so happily. And you don't fake that. Those are our staff. They're coming to the building at the same time I am, leaving, and I just feel it from them. It's real. They are enjoying what we're doing together.
Nice.
And that is intoxicating because I get energy from them. It gives me energy to give back to them. And that's a positive cycle.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm trying to lead our city and inspire for results.
But what seems hard about it is those are like 3 big projects right here, like in this, just right downtown, and they're all at different phases. It's like one of them you're breaking ground, one of them you've got partners already, developers, and the other it's kind of just in planning phases. So you have to execute your vision at 3 different stages of that kind of same process. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what the Make Ogden plan is for. It sets that vision and the broad template of what we're working toward, so that we're not making it up on the fly. And the decisions we make are fit within a framework that we've already carefully contemplated and considered, right? So Wonder Block is part and parcel of that, and so is Union Station, but those are two enormous building blocks for the downtown.
Right.
And for our future.
Oh, and then I want to talk about Breeze. Like, I mean, that was a pretty big win. Can you talk about what it took to kind of make all that happen?
Yeah, happy to. Airport, I've never managed an airport before.
Right.
That's a new space for me. So FAA rules, and what's today's Friday? I was there on Wednesday, I think, for a few hours. I spent a fair bit of time out there. Being on an airport and being a part of managing airports is just a new thing for me. But what's not new is people aren't new. Policies and procedures are not new to me.
Mm-hmm.
So my worry when we consider that as a council is we've got a lot of frustration out there at the airport amongst some of the stakeholders, not all. But that makes for a challenging environment to do big things in when you don't have those fundamentals figured out, you know. But to put an airline on top of it was worrisome for me, and because it takes a lot of effort, a ton of effort, more than I even realized now that I see it on the administrative end. I was incredibly impressed and proud of the work of our team to make it happen. It just is a really good example of what the people we have here are capable of doing. Jared Johnson's my interim acting director for CED right now, and he took a huge role in making sure that got across the finish line. It took a lot of work. He had a lot of sleepless nights. He had time away from his family, and so did others. Staff leaned in. Spouses even came and showed up and helped get it ready for the unveiling. That's the level of care that we have in our people. People don't just go to work for a city. They're going to work for Ogden.
Yeah.
And the way that you love Ogden, our staff members do too. I sum it up by saying, they don't come to work to build a city, they come to work to build a community. And it proves itself when you see them doing the level of work that they did, late night, overnight hours, preparing for an enormous opportunity for our community. And they pulled it off.
Yeah.
And they've got a lot to be proud of for that. And I'm really proud of them for it too.
Well, and that thing's tough because it's like you want your city to have airport infrastructure, but then you need some kind of private company to come in to make it profitable. But then it feels like now the city is tied to that airline success in a way. Like, is that seems hard to balance.
I don't know. It's a little bit chicken or the egg, right?
Yeah.
And no one's wrong in whatever their decision is or opinion is on that. But I don't have any concern with being tied to the city's success, being tied to the success of stakeholders and partners. That's how it ought to work. That ought to actually be the paradigm that we're viewing it through is if the airline succeeds, the airport succeeds, right? And the airport succeeds if the airline succeeds. Whatever way you want to look at that, that's exactly the paradigm that we should be viewing things from.
Right.
And not just for the airline, but for the hangar owners and lessees, and for the restaurant and any potential businesses that come and locate to the airport, right?
Yeah.
Their success is ours is theirs.
Right. We're actually in that kind of relationship all over with Weber State or, I don't know, 25th Street Business at the Junction. I don't know.
Exactly.
Just all that stuff.
Yeah, if One Ogden as a podcast is doing well, that's good for Ogden.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It's just, we've got that relationship all around us here.
Huh. That's cool. I'm excited about Breeze. I love that it's here.
I know. Have you used it yet?
No, but I'm...
So if you haven't flown out of the Ogden airport, you need to.
Yeah.
It is so nice.
Yeah.
Because we're all used to driving down to Salt Lake early, pay for parking, pay for or take the shuttle, hope that you don't have long security lines, spend a fortune on your food. It's not very good. Might not be the best food, but it's fast. It's like you get used to that. Then you fly out of the Ogden airport. You drive right up to the terminal, pay a reasonable amount for parking, walk right in. You got a beautiful restaurant with delicious food and Bakery and Sisters. If you're hungry, right? The plane shows up and you see it land through the windows. You just go right through security and through to the gate. They're ready to board. You just get on board and then you leave. And it is so smooth.
It is.
It's amazing. Once you've done it once, you're like, wow, I'm doing that again.
Oh, yeah. I did it with the old airline. And even since I've done like Provo Airport, which is good, it's not Ogden Airport. That's like...
mind-blowing how nice, right?
Yeah. And so I guess the campaign process, like this one was a lot of primary candidates, a lot of opinions, like a lot of dialogue about it the whole time and stuff. Do you feel like that changed you as a public representative, going through that? Like, do you feel like there are things you learned and, are going to try to adopt now after that kind of campaign?
Oh, it definitely strengthened me. There's no question whatsoever what people are focused on and what they want. You cannot go through a process like that without knowing that housing is a priority for people. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we heard about it constantly. So yeah, it I wouldn't say it changes who I am, but it improves who I am. It's a hard experience. It's very public. Can be embarrassing or humiliating. It's very risky. Mm-hmm. So it can be nerve-wracking. It can be combative. Yeah. Doesn't have to be. It took a lot to get through that.
Right.
Every single candidate deserves a lot of respect for what they went through. Uh-huh. But it absolutely prepared me for service.
Yeah.
No question. Those are crucible moment after crucible moment every single day. Prepares you for the crucible moments that you have when you're in the job. Huh. Yeah, this is not an easy job. This is a hard role, and I wouldn't say I've had an easy day yet.
Do you get to do any coaching anymore?
Not really. I'm still involved. My wife coaches a lot still, and my kids are still in the program. I'm always present as much as I can be. I'm not the X's and O's guy doing the coaching anymore, but I'm present. And the kids, that's kind of been cool, is the kids love when they see the mayor at their ball game.
Yeah.
I've been at those ball games for them all along, but I wasn't the mayor, and they feel more empowered and supported when they see the mayor at their game.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not just at my daughter's games. I go to a lot of kids' games because those are kids that I've coached over the years. I'll be going to a lot of Ben Lomond and Ogden High softball games, for example. They play each other next week because there's kids on those teams, both of those teams that I coached. And so for them to still look back and say, hey, the mayor's here. Some of them call me mayor, some of them call me coach still means quite a bit to me. Yeah. In fact, I gave you a challenge coin, didn't I?
Yeah.
So it's a mayoral challenge coin. This is something the previous administration did too.
I didn't see that.
And so I chose two themes on it, and it's based on the priorities for the first year of my administration. So there's Union Station, right? Because we're celebrating 100 years of the Union Station. But on the back is youth sports, and it's got the logo for our Ogden City Untamed program. And it's got a formula for greatness that I teach to the kids over time, that grit plus grind plus growth equals greatness. You got to have grit because life ain't going to be easy. It's going to be a grind. But if you've got the grit to step up to the grind, you're going to have opportunities to grow. And that growth is where we achieve our greatness, right? That's an individual formula and a team formula. It's something that I espouse for the kids, but it's something I espouse for our team here and for our community and for myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, mayoral coin for Mayor Nadolski, first year.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I guess I get the sense that you try to stay away from honing in on specific directions, but do you have a sense of where things are going to start moving after the first 100 days?
Absolutely. I'll be right around that 100-day mark. I'll be presenting my first budget proposal to the council, and that budget proposal will reflect a lot of the priorities that I have here. I had our first budget retreat, 3 days. I'm surrounded by a team of professionals. They're all at the table and in the room helping me build my first budget. And it was like you look around and see the caliber of expertise. It's like, wow, it's humbling. But building that budget process is happening right now in this building. There are people right now working on that for me. They know what I want, and they're building it into the budget right now. So I'm not the one pushing the buttons and with the keystrokes. I'm not operating all the finance programming and stuff to make it happen. But the people that are know full well what I stand for, and they believe in it, and they're building it in for me right now. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I think I hit all my stuff.
That's it?
I think so. What did I miss?
I want people to know that that even if you don't hear something, especially in the early tenure, that there's a lot of work going into building a team here. We're building a place that is dynamic and electric. It's a place that people want to work in. I'm putting a ton of emphasis in culture. It just is so fundamental for the rest of my tenure, that we create a team and a culture that can execute on the visions that we have moving forward. You'll see policy things coming out of city council and planning commission and stuff like that, but those things don't just happen. They're not just proposed in a vacuum. I want to make sure that they're proposed with the full breadth and expertise of the team in this building, right? And when they get to the public point of proposal, that people have faith that we've put a lot of attention into preparing it in a way that is going to make the most sense for Ogden. But then after it's voted on or approved in the public, it's not over. It has to go back to the same team for execution and implementation, right? And so people will start to see things going vertical that have not gone vertical yet and haven't for a long time. Just know that doesn't happen by accident. It happens but with the work of a ton of people. And there's a full team driving those results in the background. And that's been my emphasis. My emphasis has been on the team. My emphasis has been on engaging in the community. I hope people are seeing me in ways that they were hoping to see. Engagement from the mayor. I show up to events that they might not expect. I show up to parties, birthday parties. We just had a 100-year birthday party. They were not expecting me to show up. It was a surprise. But it's an honor to be at those things. And you're going to continue to see me in places, in restaurants and downtown. I want people to know that I'm here, I'm engaged, I'm showing up, and I'm doing the work every day.
I've really got to give you credit. City council meetings, the Union Station meetings that I didn't used to see the mayor at, like you're saying, the restaurants, just the groups of people getting together, and then the mayor shows up and says what's up. Like you've been around. I got to give you credit for that.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. So you've noticed.
Yeah.
Good. I hope others notice. I hope it makes an impact and it makes a difference for people to know that their mayor's involved and present, and I'm here with them.
Yeah.
And when I'm not, I'm here taking my grit, putting it to the grind. I'm personally growing, but I'm making sure that the team's growing too. And then when we do that, we're going to achieve our greatness. That's the formula.
Right.
And one day I'll write a book. But right now I don't have time because I got too much to do for others.
Right. You're writing it up here.
Oh, totally. But one day.
That's good.
I mean,
it's a good formula.
This coin was the basis, and that formula was the basis of my remarks to the fire department last night.
Well, and it does feel like it's very informed by coaching. Like that that comes through in all the kind of leadership style you've got.
I wouldn't be where I'm at without teams, without sports, without opportunities for competition. That has definitely helped build me into who I am. But those components and those concepts are not only in sport. You could apply it to art. You could apply it to robotics, STEM.
Bureaucracy.
Apply it to whatever your passion is, and you can achieve your own greatness. There's no question about it. But I think being competitive, having an opportunity to compete, to hone your craft, to build yourself, have opportunities of growth, it just builds us into who we are. That's why we are who we are. It's an ethos in this town that others don't have. And frankly, it's a competitive advantage that we are going to capitalize on here.
Yeah.
And Ogden's got human capital that's got grit, and they are ready for the grind.
Yeah.
It's growing into something really special every single day. And at the end of the day, that is Ogden. That is our greatness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I love it.
Growth is coming. Let's manage that growth. Another thing I said in my campaign, let's prepare for the growth and manage it and become the greatest community that we can possibly be, rather than just having the growth happen to us. Let's direct it and build it ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right? That's the Ogden way.
Yeah. Great. Very good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming. See you next time.